The Bucks and Celtics square off in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference semifinal series in Boston tonight. Let's talk Celtics-Bucks. Giannis had a triple-double in Game 1, 24-12 with 13 assists in the win. Milwaukee held Boston to 33% shooting from the floor. And for more, here's, as you can plainly see, ESPN reporter Brian Windhorst with me from Boston. Wendy, maybe no one in the world has watched LeBron James play more than you. And you compared him to Giannis for Giannis's playing Game 1. Wendy, he wasn't that good in Game 1 by his standards. Why the LeBron comparison?
I know. Yeah, do you know why? You know how many hours I've spent in this building in May watching LeBron James play the Celtics? First time with the Cavs, then with the Heat, then the second time with the Cavs. I have seen so many times where LeBron has been in here, and a lot of times where he didn't have the better team, but he just absolutely willed his team to victory when he didn't play great. And as I was sitting here Sunday afternoon for another playoff game, watching a lower-seeded team with the best player in the game on the court come in here and play an excellent Celtics team, which there's just always been, he reminded me of LeBron because the way he was able to influence that game without playing his greatest on offense, the way he distributed the ball, the way he defended. Max, he took a different challenge in this game. Because the Celtics played so big, he took on defending Jaylen Brown and helped contribute to shutting Jaylen Brown down. He doesn't usually play Brown or Tatum. He usually plays more free safety. But without Chris Middleton, he had to play sort of a smaller defensive role. So the all-encompassing performance that he put on in leading his team to steal home court. You know how many times LeBron came in and stole home court away from another team? He won a road game in 30 consecutive series. It felt like being transported into the past watching that performance.
You know, I think that's so right. And even as a kid growing up listening to guys talk, on TV about this kind of stuff, he's a champion now and he knows how to win. What is that not? This is what that means, right? Like, he's a champion now and he knows how to win. Meantime, the latest on Marcus Smart and his injured right thigh, Wendy.
Yeah, so he's going to be listed as questionable. He's going to come here on this court in a couple hours and get warmed up and see how that quad feels. I'd be stunned if he doesn't play, but I'd also be stunned if the Bucks don't run him through some screens early on. It's not so much, Ime Udoka said it's not so much about pain, it's about mobility with that quad. Now, he had a bruised right quad in January and missed a handful of games. And if this was a regular season, I'm not sure he'd be playing right now. He had difficulty even picking himself up off the court on Sunday afternoon. That quad was bothering him so much. He's obviously a vitally important player, defensive player of the year. We'll see what he's able to give the Celtics tonight.
Thanks, Wendy, as always. Coach, Giannis led the way for the Bucks with a triple-double, as Wendy points out. But how did the Celtics work between showing Giannis a crowd but not helping too early so they can get back out on those shooters?
Well, that's the bind that he puts you in, right? He's one of those guys where if you go to him too soon, his size, his length, his IQ gives him the ability to find people and even find that cross-court skip pass, right? If you get to him too late, now he's at the rim, he's dunking the basketball, or he's at the free throw line. With him, the best thing you can do is try to attack his dribble. When the ball's on the floor, now you give smaller guys an opportunity to use their quickness, their lower center of gravity. Now they can make a play on the ball and try to make him pick up his dribble higher on the floor, and then you can release back.
Yeah, it's funny because he's actually a big dressed up as a wing, right? And everyone talks about, if his shot got 15% better, he'd be the best. But actually, if his handles were like 15% even better than they are, then it would be like, then what do you do? JJ, the Bucks defense was able to slow down Tatum and Brown in Game 1, but how did they turn the trick again in Game 2?
The Bucks really don't change how they play a lot. Coach knows this. They're a heavy drop coverage team. They protect the paint as well as any team in the NBA, and they give you 3 points. They give you 3-point shooting. The Celtics shot 50 of those in Game 1. They're probably going to shoot a lot again tonight. And there's such a tendency as an offensive player when you come off a pick and roll and you see that big all the way back in the paint, it gets very tempting to just continuously shoot pull-up jumpers. And with the length and size that the Bucks have, they're able to get those rear view contests. I don't expect to change. What the Celtics have to do is they have to take care of the ball better. They had 18 turnovers. Jaylen Brown had 7 of those. I expect Jaylen Brown to have a big bounce-back game tonight.
Coach, we're talking a lot about the kind of what the championship did for Milwaukee, and I think they got a little lucky with Brooklyn's injuries, but they took advantage, and they're different now. It feels like if you're the head coach of the Boston Celtics heading into this game, what kind of mindset are you trying to instill in the team?
It's got to be attack. And we're talking about creating open shots, and JJ's talking about taking those threes, which you should, but you got to put some pressure on those big guys when they're in those deep drops. We go by analytics and the floaters and those things. That's what the defense wants you to take. They want you to take those between the free throw line and those dot shots. You got to try to get all the way to the rim. You got to try to put some foul pressure on those big guys. We all know guys want to stay on the floor. The more foul pressure they're under, the more fouls they pick up. You get to the free throw line, the more likely they are to loosen up and allow you to get to where you want to go.
Coach, I get the sentiment of trying to put pressure on the rim, and we talked about it this morning on First Take. Game 1, when Lopez and Giannis contested a shot, the Celtics were 3 for 20. They were 2 for 15 on twos with one of those two guys. So, yeah, let's attack them. Let's try to get them in foul trouble. But just know you're going against a wall back there.
Yeah, you're 7-footers.
Yes.
A couple who can who can defend the rim.
Right.
That's the sweet part. They, went bigger when Middleton got hurt. Now they've got Giannis at the 3, who does a great job.
Yeah, by the way, small ball's not about putting short guys out there. It's about putting well-rounded, skillful guys out there. But if they're 7 feet tall, even better, right? Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.